Hi, Veronica.
Hello, how are you, Stephanie?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
I know, I'm so excited that you're here. Very excited. Okay, so Veronica, do you want to do a quick Q&A with me?
I'd love
Start
it.
off? Yes? Okay, here we go. Coffee or tea, Veronica?
Coffee drinks. I don't like coffee itself. I like
No?
coffee and caramel, or coffee and chocolate, like a mocha or a caramel frappuccino.
Read a book or podcast?
Oh, watch a movie.
Watch a movie. Okay. Any destination, where would you go in the world?
Oh, probably Venice.
Venice, Italy.
Yeah.
Your favorite Sunday activity? What do you usually do?
I just came from church.
Okay.
I love some church, see the people, sing the songs.
I love that. And what's something you always carry in your purse?
I don't have a purse. I have my phone and it has like a pocket in the back.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, well that was our Q&A. It was just to like get us warmed up here.
Right? Know a little bit more about me now?
Yes. So let's get into the details. I mean, I know you're a certified Thrive coach, but I just kind of want to know a little bit about you, where you're from and where you grew up, family context, and some of the challenges growing up.
So, grew up here in Fernie, actually. Moved away from college a couple times. So I lived in Vancouver. Not for me, too big, too city. I like small city.
Okay.
And so I grew up here, and then through a bunch of random stuff, ended up being a coach.
Okay. And so you grew up in British Columbia. Do you have brothers or sisters?
I do, yeah. I have, I'm the oldest of three. I have a sister who lives in Vancouver.
Okay.
And I have a brother who lives in Montreal.
Oh, nice.
Quebec. Yeah.
And so, Veronica, I know that you went through a really tough time in your life. And before the breakthrough moment, how was your life for you? Take us in a typical day in that life.
Yeah. So, I'll keep it short. You got a lifetime. I feel like I've lived 5 lifetimes. I was born with spina bifida. And so, which has given me a lifetime of health issues, and I've had to have, I stopped counting surgeries at 12.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. I think I'm around 15 or 16 surgeries at this point.
Wow.
I stopped counting. And so through all of that, then also my dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was 2, and my brother had health issues when he was born. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital. I didn't have a normal childhood. I learned how to play Nintendo in the hospital waiting room. And then when I found out that kids had these in their houses, I was like, what? I thought that was like a perk of having to be at the hospital. Turns out not. Turns out kids just get to have them in their living room. But through it all, and this is why I had Sundays is my church day. God is super important to me and has brought me through so much and was like part of our family. And so there was a lot going on, but it never felt like it was too much because God was there kind of orchestrating it and with us. And so then when I was 15, I ended up having brain surgery, which wrecked my hormones, and I had a bunch of imbalances and lots of consequences from having surgery. And so that then my hormones went amok, and I ended up with depression and anxiety and panic attacks. Also, at the same time, my dad had gone through cancer and then got into remission, and then you go back, and then it would come back, and then you go back into remission. This was my whole childhood, and when I was 17, his cancer came back, and they were like, there's nothing else left for us to do. We've done all the treatments and we're sorry. And so at that point, with the depression that I was already experiencing and the anxiety, and my dad I am my father's daughter. I have an incredible mom. She's amazing, but I look like my dad and I have the personality of my dad. And we were like the two amigos just going at all these health things together for years.
Yeah.
Right.
You got
and
each
it was
other,
always like, if he can do it, then I can do it. Right. And so the idea of losing him was just, it was too much. And it just spiraled my depression. And he passed away when I was 19. And so from like 16 for the next decade, I was either losing him or grieving the loss of him. And while dealing with my own health stuff and the mental game that was going on in my head, and I didn't want to live. I basically would go to bed every night asking God to not let me wake up the next morning, and then wake up and go, shit, what do I do? Like, I have to do another day. I have to do another day. Yeah. Like, why? What is the point of this?
Yeah.
And that was kind of my life. And I mentioned that I worked as an educational assistant. Work was the only thing that got me out of bed. And so weekends, I didn't get out of bed. From Friday after work till Sunday at church, I didn't get out of bed.
Oh, wow.
So fast forward, I'm 26, and we have spring break is coming up. And here we have 2 weeks of spring break. And my coworkers were talking at the break or whatever about all the fun things that they were going to do on spring break. And this one was going on this holiday to the Amazon on a safari, and this one was going to Spain, and I didn't have the money to do those things. And so I had this revelation of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be by myself for 2 weeks and have nobody need me. Like, I'm not going to make it. And so that night I actually called a friend who lives 8 hours away, and I said, I need to come and stay at your house. And she had just gotten married and had a baby, so life was busy. And I said, I don't need you to take care of me. I don't need you to entertain me. I just need to get out of town.
Yeah.
I just need and to be around some people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'll go in, I'll,
do my thing
and do the touristy thing, whatever. I just need a bed for that 2 weeks. And she was like, you got it, girl, no worries. So, and 2 days later, I was then on my way. And I got there on a Friday night. Sunday we go to church, and the pastor talks about life coaching.
Really?
And we didn't say a word to each other in church. And we get into the car, and she looks at me and she goes, you want a life coach, don't you?
What? Wow.
Yeah. I had lived with this girl in college years ago. I've known her my whole life. But it was just like, I called it I get the God bumps, and that, like, I was like, yes, I totally do. Like, that, I had tried counseling. I had been on antidepressants. I had done this, get more exercise and be out in the sun and support groups and all of these things. And not to say any of those are bad. I still just felt stuck. I felt like I was surviving every minute.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful childhood through everything that I'd gone through. I had a childhood of joy and fun and laughter and life and vibrancy. And I'd lost that. And I just felt like I was treading water with, like, my head above the water.
Yeah.
And I could see the island. I could see this, like, awesome life that everybody else was living. And I couldn't get to it. I was just stuck treading the water in the middle of the lake. And so she said, and so I ended up, I Facebooked the pastor who was talking about life coaching. And I was like, thank you so much for the sermon today. And I'm gonna look for a life coach now. And he goes, here's his name, here's his number, here's his website. He's awesome. And shout out to Rob. So I called this guy, and I talked to him for 6 hours, or like an hour at a time, over the course of the next 3 months. And it completely changed everything in my life.
Wow.
I
have goosebumps. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to him for 6 hours. And going forward after that, so I spent 3 months talking to him and doing the exercises and all that. But then it allowed me the opportunity to then do it for myself and coach myself. And I spent the next several years doing that. And the people around me saw such a transformation that then they were like, okay, what did you do? How did you do it? Give us the answers. What is the secret?
Can I ask you, Veronica, because I thought you brought out something very interesting, where a lot of people, we say like, oh, just go exercise, and as you say, like, go do this, it'll help your depression, your anxiety, find a passion, blah blah blah, and you're like, none of those things worked. What changed with the life coach? What did the life coach do that made a difference? Like, you know what I mean? What was it with the life coach?
Yeah, it was one that it was personalized to me.
Okay.
And I had, so right before my dad died, the year before my dad died, I did counseling. Counseling is important. I'm nothing against counseling at all. I needed the counseling when I was doing the counseling because it kept me alive. I would not be alive today. I would have driven myself off the side of the road. I had ample opportunities. And when I was in college, I lived an hour away from my family, like from my parents. And I was driving back and forth on weekends to see my dad. And there was like, and I live in the Rocky Mountains. Okay. And there's like, so there are plenty of opportunities to get in an accident in the middle of winter in the mountains, right?
Yeah.
Just put it that way. And so I needed the counseling at that time. But what the counseling did for me was it helps me cope with the things I was dealing with. And it gave me, psychology-based answers of when you feel this, do this, right? Here's A, B, C to this symptom. And then I spent the next 10 years living in just this, like, I'm just breathing, right? I'm just living. This is not thriving. I want to thrive.
Yeah.
And so the coach worked with me in one. It was interesting because one of the first questions he asked me, I was giving him my background of, how did I get here? And I said, I lost my joy. And I like joy. I like fun. I like color. Like I lost my joy. I'm doing the stuff. I'm making a difference in the world, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And I've lost my joy. And he said, well, what do you enjoy? And he goes, no, just like in your day. What's something you could do that you enjoy? And I was like, I really like driving. Like, I just like, because I live in the mountains. I don't live in a city where we have major traffic,
that wouldn't be a city answer.
We don't have traffic jams. Our biggest traffic jam is the train that you have to wait for 5 minutes. Yeah. And I said, I really like driving. And he said, okay, well, I want you to go. My homework that night was go for a drive every day. And I said, well, what if I don't have anywhere to go? And he said, then you get in your car and you drive for 20 minutes and then you go home. And it was then implementing those small things and being intentional about what it is that I want more of my day. Because it's so easy to just let the day get ahead of you. Right?
Yeah.
The other thing that coaching did for me, and that I get to now do for others, is it gives you back the power. That the answers, as I sat with him, all he did was ask me questions. And I had the answers inside me. But we can get bogged down with life and, right?
Yeah.
With the circumstances happening to us.
Yeah.
And it's like that phrase that life's happening to me, not for me. And it's switching that to say, no, it's happening for you, right?
Yeah.
There are these things. Yeah, I still have health issues that I deal with daily, but I don't see them as obstacles anymore. They're just events in the day.
Wow, I like that.
I get through them, and then I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And they don't get to shift my mindset of how do I feel in the day. Like right now, this is a crappy moment or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't then dictate
exactly
the next moment.
Yeah. And how do you feel like in your body compared to, could we say that you felt numb, completely numb before, and now it's just like physically, what's the difference? Like,
I felt like I was floated, like I wasn't in my body.
wow.
I was like doing these things, but at the end of the day, I just felt like it wouldn't have mattered had I done those things or not. Like I didn't feel fulfilled at the end of the day. I didn't feel that my presence mattered in the world.
Yeah.
I pierced my ears when I was 26, and now I wear massive earrings. Like I just get to represent me how I am and show up just me and know that that's enough.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say to someone that's still in the same position you were before? Depression, anxiety, feeling stuck, feeling numb. Like, what would you say to somebody that's feeling that today?
Call me. Hire me. Talk to somebody. Do something. You have to eat. Like, I look back and I'm not a person that regrets things.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if I could have had somebody that, that if it didn't take me 10 years, man, like, and all I have to say, like, life is not easy. We're all living in a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
We're all experiencing, living a thriving life is not that life is easy. It's not that it's all roses and that nothing goes wrong in my life, because it does. It's just being able to bounce back quicker.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Say like, this is, I heard a speaker once say that I am not a depressed person. I am a joyful person having a depressed moment.
Oh, I love that.
And that is the thriving life. For me, like, I've taken that, and just to say, like, when you have a moment, whatever that is, right? When life puts an obstacle in your way and you're like, cool, I was on this path. You still, right? I think of it as if you're going to go on a road trip with your girlfriends or your guy friends or whoever, your wife, your husband, whatever. And you plan this trip and you're going to go for the weekend, and you've got, you're going to go to a concert, and you're going to go to a Cirque du Soleil show, and you're going to go to whatever your thing is, right? And you start driving, and all of a sudden there's construction on the road. You don't turn around and cancel your trip.
No,
you pull up the map or Google Maps on your phone, and you find the detour.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, I still have my plan is set, it's in motion, it's happening. It's just going to take a different route to get there.
Yeah. Do you still have those little triggers or a voice that comes in? And do you have like a way to like snap out of it? Or
I scrapbooked for years. Remember when scrapbooking was really cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was totally in on that. Like, made the scrapbook albums. I made albums for friends' weddings and for anniversaries and stuff.
Really?
It was because it was particular, and I could lay everything out and then know what the end result was going to be before I glued anything. Painting is not like that. And so a friend of mine invited me to paint class, and I was like, no, that's not. I'm like, I'll come and I'll drink wine, but I'm not, right? And so she made me paint while I was there, and I painted a beautiful painting, but it opened me up. Even the coaching opened me up to like viewing life as opportunities, and that failure because also I have, with the OCD, I don't like failing. So I don't start a lot of things because
Oh, that's,
then,
yeah. A lot of people could relate. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there is this like, well, what if I fail at it? So I guess I won't try. And for me, now my definition has completely switched to failure. Failure is not when you fail at something, like when something doesn't work out for you, that you don't get the desired result. Failure is when you stop moving, when you stop trying.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
When you're climbing a
So
mountain,
true.
right? When you start learning to hike and you slip on a rock and you fall, no one's like, well, you failed. Suck at mountain climbing. Like, right? No one's gonna say that to you. They're gonna help you get back up, and you're not like, okay, well, I failed. I'm gonna turn around and go home now. Right? You're like, no, I'm gonna climb this
it's
mountain.
so true.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna climb this mountain, right? And then you climb the mountain and you get to tell everybody about it, and it's awesome. And nobody cares the fact that you slipped and fell.
No. And Veronica, now you're a certified Thrive coach. I want to know what you do. Tell me about your project.
So I was transitioning in, okay, like 28, 29 years old. What am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a go-getter. I have disability pension, but I'm not trying to live off that. Like, I'm just not.
Yeah.
No, I have too much energy and too much like excitement for people and making a difference in the world. So
yeah.
I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then the people I was coaching were like, you're really good at this. You should maybe make money. And so I went and I got my certification in 2017. So then, yeah, that was then when Thrive Life Coaching was born. Mm-hmm. And Thrive just felt like the right word to me. I was like, that's my company.
Yeah.
That's what I live for. Yeah. And so, yeah, now I get to help individuals who just feel like that's stuck in surviving, mm-hmm. and want to make the move to thriving and want life to be more than just a list of to-dos, and want to live with passion and excitement and see the beauty in life. Yeah. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that coaching did for me and that I get to help other people with is mm-hmm. to get out of your box of experience, right? We all have our box that we've been living in that like here's another, you have your like 6 feet of reach, right? That you're like, hey, this is my space. This is where I live.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I do. And I get to work with clients and say, what if we looked at 1 foot farther, mm-hmm. to see what is available to you? Would it be worth it? I think so.
I love it. I'm like excited for you. I really love what you do and how you speak about it. One last question for you, Veronica. What like message do you have to share to the world? If you have one thing you'd like to share, maybe it could be related to your story or whatever it is. What do you want people to know?
I want people to know that our brain knows how to survive. Your brain every day is telling you, okay, this is what you need to do to survive. Our brain is not programmed for you to thrive. We have to step into intention. We have the opportunity to thrive. I am a living testament to it. 10 years ago, I wanted to be dead. I did not want to be breathing. I did not think that my life was worth it. I felt that with my disability, with all of my health issues, that I was a burden to other people. Not a blessing. I wanted to be a blessing, but I felt I was just a burden. Mm-hmm. And now I get to wake up and I see the day as an opportunity to be a blessing. And so it is intention. So whatever that thing is for you, whether that is you go on my website, you call me up, and we have a conversation, whether that is you try something new and you go to a paint class, whether that is you go and you get a gym membership, just make a move.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is you want out of life. What is the vision you want for your life? And then then you can figure out with a life coach. I think life coaches are great, clearly. Because they are a bit more objective. They can look outside your circumstance.
Yeah.
Right? To be a little bit more objective in that. Let's look at the next 5 feet. How can you make 5 feet? What are the steps? What are the stepping stones? Right? What are the actions you can take to get you 5 feet closer to the top of the mountain? I could not have imagined that I would be here. And I'm so grateful that I made that phone call, that I decided I was worth making that phone call, whether I knew it or not.
Yeah. Changed your whole life, entire life.
My entire life.
Yeah.
And then the lives of people that I now get to help.
Yeah. And
that I get to have an impact on.
Well, Veronica, I'm like, I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure, and I really think you can help a lot of people out there. So I'll definitely put all your links in the post, and it'll go to YouTube as well.
Awesome.
I'll put all your links in the description there too. So Thanks so much. You're such an inspiration. I loved having that talk with you today, and we're gonna keep in touch for sure.
Definitely.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.